Okay, so we'll talk to David. David from Washington. He wants to present a subjective argument for a higher power.
Okay.
Hi, David.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Great. How
Thank
are
you
you?
for
Yeah, I was
waiting.
good. I'm very interested in different colors tonight, and I think it's pretty interesting what you guys have going here. Yeah, sorry to get philosophical. I know you guys are more of like a spiritual kind of truth thing, but
We'll do our best.
I think Erin. Yeah. I think your name's Erin, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So you kind of mentioned the colors before about like don't get into too much like there's boundaries and certain practices you can maybe go too far with and it could actually end up hurting you or stuff like that. So I was kind of wondering about like kind of morality, and I was wondering if you guys believe morality is subjective or objective and why.
Do
Um,
you want to go first, Trevor? or do you
well,
want me
I
to take
think
it?
it's, I don't know. I've always struggled with defining, but like for me, it's like it basically you don't want to hurt people, and I don't want to get hurt. So if we all agree that we're not going to hurt each other, then let's not do that. And that includes things like being kind and treating people with respect and hugging someone when they need it, or things like that. It's just be good to people. That's my take on morality.
Yeah. I'm pretty right there with you, Trevor. I think I fall that I think that morality is more or less subjective. I I don't think that there is, like, in my opinion, I'm like I said, I'm not super philosophical, but I don't see a lot of reasons for like the ought tos with the morality. I think that it's something like we have goals that we agree to as society. We have to kind of agree on goals in order to work towards those goals. So yeah.
Right,
so where are you taking this?
Yeah. So I'm kind of taking it in the realm of I mean, for what I believe in higher power, and I believe that we don't necessarily get our morality, because obviously atheists and Christians, you see a lot of that of they'll have equal morality, like they both believe in the same moral things. So atheists and agnostics, they definitely have morality, but I guess my main thing is how do you justify the morality that you have? Because one thing, because what you're saying is you have it and you strive for to be better, to be kind, to help people, to strive for better goals so that we can keep on just being better as a society. And my main point is, but like Hitler, Stalin, people that we would deem horrible in history, like Stalin killing 20 million of his own people, and then he kind of died a nice death on his bed, and he never had to be punished for his crimes. So how would you justify it then? If, like, where do you get that inherentness of justification if somebody has a different idea of morality? And do you believe that higher power?
You're not asking us to justify Hitler, right?
Yeah,
you're just asking. You're just
unpopular
asking.
Opinion. Don't like Hitler.
Like, I don't think you're gonna get it. I know I'm wearing horns and I'm pretty, like, kind of demonic today, but I'm not gonna try to justify anything that Hitler did. How would I justify my behavior? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that, as social creatures, I think that we possess things like mirror neurons. It actually does hurt me. I feel pain when I see other people in pain. When I think about other people who I may be hurting with my actions, I don't know if it's something that's like I wouldn't want them to do that to me, but like, I also think about that person may have a different perspective from me, but they've made me aware of it, so I'm not going to do that thing because they have told me that it hurts them, and when they are hurt, it causes me pain because of the way that our brains work, and it does something to me on a physical level, and I feel really, really I feel pain when I see other people in pain, so I don't want to cause that to them. I don't know if where that cycle ends, but
so So we can both agree, Erin, that you absolutely believe that Hitler was 1,000% wrong. And do you believe that Hitler should have died a horrible death?
Do I believe he should have died a horrible death? I mean, ideally, yeah.
Yeah, after.
You want punishment.
Probably.
But can I ask you a question?
That's what I mean. Sure.
Can I ask, yeah. So you say you believe in a higher power. Is it a specific higher power? Like, are you a part of a religion, or do you just believe that, something's bigger than me out there? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I would put it in Christian section.
Okay. So when God said slavery was okay, would you say that was wrong?
Yeah. So in Exodus 21, I don't want to get we can talk about that, but I don't want to get too deep into Exodus 21 right now. Yeah. But again, just because you brought up an example of somebody doing a bad thing, I just thought, why don't we bring up an example of a God doing a bad thing, like killing everybody except for 8 people? But in your absolutely, and I totally get that question. But in your realm, how do you justify that then? Because if you can't justify it, then it's just human opinion, is it not? Like it's like
how do we justify that your God killed people, or what are you asking us to justify? Because we haven't killed, we haven't committed genocide,
right?
Either of us.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying. Say me and Trevor, last 2 people on Earth, right? Or say there's, last 2 people on Earth, right? You believe that slavery is okay, and I believe that slavery is right. How do we know who's right and who's wrong?
I think you are. Did you say that we believe slavery is okay, and you believe that it's wrong?
No. Vice versa. It doesn't matter who and who. It just say I believe that.
Well, we would just have to agree if it was just maybe you and I left on the planet Earth, and we have different opinions about slavery. I guess we'd have to, like one of us would have to agree to it, and the other person won't agree, and you can't force one other person to do it.
Yeah, and if you're enslaving one of those, if the person who's like pro-slavery is the one enslaving the other person, so like there's 2 people, one of them is a slave. Yeah, that slave guy person is not gonna like being a slave, and that's gonna hurt them, and they're gonna be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Right. But but why should we care what they like? What's bad about not caring? I still don't understand the justification of what you guys get. It just sounds like just. Well,
it goes against this common goal that we've decided as society, that we're going to treat each other in a certain way.
Hold on. You said common goal. 1800s slavery was right, that black people were slaves, right? And slavery obviously were white.
No, it wasn't right.
A lot of people said it was wrong at the time too. There were abolitionists.
No, but I know those people thought it was right, just like Hitler thought killing the Jews were right, just like Stalin thought killing his own people were right. I mean, you can name atrocities on atrocities, but my main point is I believe from an atheist or an agnostic point of view, you have morality. That's not the discussion. It's just you cannot justify it. And if you say, "Oh,
no, we can justify." We gave you our justification. Is that we justify it by the fact that we have this. We create goals with people in our lives and in our community, and then we work towards those goals. And my justification is that I've made that commitment, and I want to live in society, and I don't want to hurt people. It's not that complicated. I would like to know how you are basing your morality. How do you decide whether you should enslave somebody or not?
Right. Just real quick on that comment. You're just saying just in your boundaries of where you live. So in the United States, wherever you are in the United States, just that boundary.
We're in Canada.
If you go to the Middle East.
Yeah, we're Canadian.
Or Canada, right? So yeah, if you say Canada versus you say the cartel in Mexico, or you could say slave trades in the Middle East, or say super extreme Islam, ISIS, for an example. Those would be their boundaries to help their community grow in power, wealth, and thrive just over and above. But it's not the same to everybody, because it's not a universal.
No, which is why we have a lot more work to do in the world. Yeah. There's a lot more work to do, because we need to, as people who believe that our main goal here, I'm just going to mute you for a second here. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to make a point that societally we have different moralities all throughout the world. And I mean, in my mind, that doesn't mean that morality is objective, and there's just certain people who are like missing the point. I think that like morality is something that evolves over time, and I think that like our society has agreed that like human well-being and flourishing is a good thing. Human individual well-being is not something that's been agreed upon in certain communities, and I think that's why there is activism, and why we have these programs, and why we're trying to get free internet access to certain communities and increase their independence. Like, it's clearly is a problem, and that we're working towards, because morality is something that does improve and progress and evolve.
Mhm.
That's just the hello. I just heard
You're on. Sorry, we were just a little bit of a lag here, so I just wanted to make sure we both got our words in.
Yeah. You're good. Just my main point is again, you bring up we have to work towards a certain goal, or we have to work to be better. Those are good moral words that you're putting into your sentences. But again, it's just what you're saying is it's human opinion, and there's a lot of humans around me in this community of where I live, and we all came up on the same opinion. So that opinion is right, no matter what anybody says.
No.
That's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Yes, there's lots of humans, and lots of humans disagree, and that's part of what the discourse is about, and that's how we grow and evolve in our morality. We talk about it, and we discuss, and we learn things on a sociological level about what kind of things are harmful to people, and things that we didn't think that were harmful 20 or 40 or 50 years ago. We learned that actually that was really harmful. So now we've learned, and we're going to use that knowledge towards how we base our decisions going forward.
Mhm.
Yeah, but harmful is another moral word. Harmful, you're using harmful as a negative word. What if somebody thinks harmful is a good word? What if somebody thinks the whole human... but what if somebody thinks the whole...
The word harmful is a negative word. That's how I'm using it, yes.
Yeah, but why do you think it's a negative word if somebody thinks it's a positive word? If somebody's like, oh, actually, I think it's good to create harm.
If a person in society thinks that harm is now a positive word, that person has now gone against what we've agreed to on society about what the word harm means.
That's why we have like a prison for the criminally insane.
Yeah,
That's why that exists in this society.
It's not necessarily the word. It's just how you attach it to a certain action.
Right. So
my main point is sure. But just real quick. I promise. My main point is just saying that if it's harmful, you're using a harmful as let's just use Hitler as an example. You're saying what he did was harmful.
I would prefer you not to. I would like you to choose something different than Hitler, because like let's move it into the 21st century here, and like give me a more current example.
Let's say
because Hitler's an easy out
in the Middle East, or ISIS. Let's just say ISIS or Middle East slave trade. Let's say ISIS. So ISIS, Islam. Everybody knows who ISIS is, but if they're so zealous and they kill people and steal and rape and do all this stuff, you believe that is wrong because it creates harm. They believe what they're doing is right because it gives them power. You're coming from your human opinion. They're coming from their human opinion. How do you know who's right?
No, they're coming from the theocratic opinion, just like you. If you think objective morality is true, so I view that as that you are like how you justify your decision is based on God's subjective morality. And like if you're talking about say like what did you say it was again? Taliban. They're using Allah's subjective morality, and they're basing all of it out of their book that's also like thousands of years old.
Yeah, and isn't there a story in the Bible about God telling the army to keep the virgin girls for themselves?
Yeah,
that's it's in your book, right? So that objective morality is pretty immoral by my standards.
But it also seems like God's morality has changed over the years.
Yeah.
But that's
over the book.
that's what you. But again, you're saying that is wrong because you believe that, and that's the only justification is, oh, I think that creates harm, and I see that creates harm, but that's what I think that.
So you don't think that's wrong?
People.
So it's a. Oh, I've got okay. Yeah. So
no. Listen to me. I never said that. I'm just saying that you guys are coming from a point of view of looking in the Bible. You read Exodus 21 about the slave trade, and you say, oh, that's slavery. which again, I think that you guys are misinterpreting that whole context, but we're not going to get into that.
Probably not, but yes, we are saying, yeah, that's wrong. It's my subjective opinion.
That's the only standard that you really live by is your human opinion. You don't have a higher power. So again,
and the society and the people that I live in and the social contracts that I've made and my desire to live in a community where I'm safe and free and I can trust my neighbors to do so.
Again, community, the popularity, it's kind of like that appeal to popularity. The more people there is, it must be right.
No, it's like more of like an appeal to democracy. I think like it's not the fallacy that you're bringing up.
But to the core of that, it's all these people around me think it's wrong, and I truly believe that it's wrong, so it must be wrong. That's what you're saying, and I think that's just human opinion, and a lot of human opinion.
I really would like to hear. I would like to hear. Trevor's been trying to make a point here for the last like 10 minutes about.
Sure, absolutely. Sorry about that.
And I know you're gonna say like something misinterpretation or whatever, but so. Trevor, you brought up the example about keeping the women and children as war booty after, like David, if your God told you that he would like you to take these people who have just had their whole family slaughtered and watched everybody die, and that he would like you to take them on as some sort of a slave. We won't go any further than that. Your God has told you to do this. What would you do? Would the correct thing to be to do that because your God said so? Or do you think there's a different way of action?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're referring to Yahweh, obviously in the Bible, that's not his heart, and that's a misinterpretation.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm giving you a hypothetical that if your God came, maybe we'll make it more simple. If your God came to you today and asked you to hurt somebody, like it's Yahweh, it's your God of your Bible. He asked you to do something. Would you do it?
No, because that's not him. That's not his nature. So
in this hypothetical, in my hypothetical, this is what he's asking you to do.
If I absolutely knew it was God, 100%, I would say, God, why are you changing? No, because I would say, God, why are you changing your character? That makes no sense. But if I absolutely knew it was God,
but you're just interpreting his character based through your own interpretation.
Sure. Okay. But if I know it's the God of the universe that he created everything. Then yeah, it's the God of the universe. If I absolutely knew that he existed and he's speaking to me, why not? Why wouldn't anybody? That's the God of the universe, is it not?
Because,
but again, if you're just saying that, okay, go on.
No, because we're not saying, because we have our subjective morality. We have our this doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do this because this is going to cause pain to a person. Sure, you're the big guy upstairs who invented all this, but I still see the pain on their face, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. In fact, it kind of seems a little sadistic what you're asking me to do.
Yeah, but again, but again, that's the subjective part of what you. I mean, again, if I knew that it was absolutely God and he's talking to me that God created the whole universe with that God, then sure, why not? I mean, it's God. Wouldn't you value an omniscient creature over anybody else's human objective knowledge? Okay. I mean, isn't that a no-brainer, right?
I think what I want to get to the point about is why you think one is better than the other.
Well, it's again, it's not really what you guys think in the sense of one is better than the other, because you're thinking that it's like, okay, if a child gets raped, right? That's awful. That's a horrible crime. I'd say we all agree that that's horrible and wrong. It's not really better. Why do you think it's bad? Right? What's 100% wrong?
But David, if a child was raped, why do you think it's bad? Because we think it's bad because it would cause harm.
God has written. Yeah, God has written his law on our hearts. Human intervention through sin that has messed it up. And we have been confused, and we have thought that things are good when things are actually bad. But I believe that
but
humans have an inherent.
I know you're kind of almost working into a presuppositional argument here, but why do you think that a raping of a child would be bad? Other than
without just my own.
No, but why do you think?
Are you asking me?
It'd have
I
to be
think
without God, because
I think that we can agree that we would probably both think it's bad for the same reasons, and that you tag on also
I'm
your
not,
objective.
but again, yeah, we almost probably agree in a lot of moral stuff. Like, absolutely, because
Probably. I don't appeal to some sort of higher being.
Right. No, and I'm not saying you have to be moral or to have morality. It's just the justification part. You're justifying it through human opinion. I'm saying I justify it through a higher power, which is God, and that His knowledge is way
That's fine.
beyond ours.
You need to prove your higher power.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm justifying it through the power of the carpet. Like, I don't know, justification. I get what you're saying, but it doesn't matter. Like,
whether you think chocolate tastes good because you like the taste of chocolate, or chocolate tastes good because the chocolate man is the creator of the universe,
and said you have to like chocolate because it's the best.
Yeah, it's like I like chocolate because it tastes good in my mouth.
Well, you see the damage that it's like with certain sins. You see the damage that it does to people, and you say, "Wow, God didn't."
No, I don't believe. Like, what is sin? What is sin?
I made a video about it, actually. It's on YouTube.
Yeah,
like I see people doing things that are I see people doing things that are harmful, like that. They do them to themselves, and they do to other people, and it causes harm. But what is the sin thing?
I was listening in the first hour, and I'm glad you guys brought up some of those stories about burning Harry Potter and burning this kind of stuff. And I believe the church, a lot of the church, not all churches, but most of the church has done a horrible job of really understanding the Bible and using the spiritual world around it that God has given us. And sin is kata. Sin is missing the mark. Throughout the Old Testament and New Testament, there's the moral sins, whatever you want to get into. Sin is missing the mark. We've all fallen short. Anybody's fallen short. And sin is just missing the mark. God has given us a law, which again, in the Old Testament, God didn't want to give us the law. We asked for the law because on Mount Sinai, when Moses wrote the 10 Commandments.
Okay. Well, it was kind of a rhetorical question, because clearly Trevor and I do know what sin actually means. We get what you're saying, but I'm trying to say that, like, I think that the way that we would both act in our day-to-day life, we probably are justifying it in a lot of the same ways. I don't think you would not hurt a child because you are remembering the story in the Old Testament, and that you have this moral law written on your heart, and therefore you're going to look up to the sky and remember that God said to do whatever. I think you're going to do it because you're going to see this child and you're going to say, like, oh, I don't want to hurt her because it would look like it would harm her.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's some people that don't, and there's some people that look at a child and say, "Wow."
Yeah, and we can explain that. I'm just gonna. Okay, I think that we have a. David, I'm just gonna mute you for a second. Just take a deep breath here. We have also explanations for that under like a naturalistic hypothesis, like or a naturalistic worldview too, is that, like, yes, there are people who don't fall into that. They're called psychopaths. There are people who step outside that, and they are people that we work towards either rehabilitating or keeping away from society. It's not like it's every other person that you meet in the street is a psychopath ready to kill you if they don't believe in God. So I don't know. This conversation's kind of making me feel exhausted, because I feel like I think that we can agree on well, first of all, we have to agree on that we have the same goals. So if you don't want to agree that, like, harm is something that we should work towards eliminating, then we're not going to get very far in the conversation. And I understand where you're coming from. I used to believe the same thing. I used to believe that we had to do things because of a higher power had given us that, and then given us this law to live by, or that, what you were saying, that it's like written on our hearts. I think that that's a nice way to kind of account for all these really nice atheists that are out there not doing evil. But ultimately, I feel like you can appeal to a higher power as much as you want, but unless you have good reasons to believe in your higher power, we're just going to run in circles until you provide some sort of evidence that your God is real. So David, I do appreciate you calling in. I am going to let you go now because we are kind of getting close to the end of time here, and we've got a few more things to go through before we head off for the evening. But
my friend told me not to get angry before that, so I just kept trying to remind myself that. But yeah, that was a fun one. I think because I never got the point of like why like one existing, like even if his idea did exist, what evidence we have for that, or even like why it's a better option, like why we prefer his option. I don't know. Just he said my thing's different than your thing, and that's all I got from it.
Yeah, and I do feel like that as soon as Hitler gets brought up, I'm like, okay, I understand that is an easy one to jump to, and it gets brought up like I don't know if theists know this, but like PSA to all the theists out there, atheists, agnostics, whatever, we all hear about Hitler like way more than you think we would. The appeal to Hitler, Stalin is unbelievable how often it comes up, and it's not as shocking when you bring it up as part of this argument. I'm more interested in how our day-to-day life is happening right now and how we're making decisions right now. So anyway,
yeah.